So definitely opportunity at the beginning of the day in the midst. We went from a low to a high and a low here, close proximity to each other, although it was lowest though thus far. And that prudence card is telling us to be careful because there's a peak or crest that we sell off from. And this was pretty difficult reading to read. A lot of mixed behavior and then a nullified theme card. But overall, that opportunity at the high in the beginning of the day, in the midst of a rally to open up a short position, held true pretty strongly. Um, Tomorrow's really going to be an interesting day. But I would probably, excuse me, hold the short position. I probably hold the short position until tomorrow and close it around just before noontime in the midst of that decline. There's that full card, which is a cross reading congruency with the 1 month full card in the. Oh, that's the 28th. Well, in any case, the truce card, it's a cross reading correlation, not congruency, but still pretty important there. That full energy right around there at those lows. And this should be overall bullish day, but it doesn't look bullish. It's really interesting. Oh, actually, yeah, there at the end of the day, there's a failed attempt to break. We probably see the same high that we have at the beginning of the day. There's a failed attempt to break through that key resistance and a decline through key support. A lot of trade opportunity tomorrow, a lot of different ways that you could play it. But I would say you could either take profit in shorts now, or you could risk it and hold it to tomorrow to close out of here. We've got another opportunity at the beginning of the day to open up a short position, so likely we see more decline. And then I think probably that okay, that fast sudden move higher is first thing in the day. Um, a diagonal rally along a diagonal trend line that ends with a fast sudden move higher and then a breakdown through that diagonal trend line with increasing volatility. So we should see similar behavior in the morning where we've got this high and this low, and then we go into a lower low midday, um, and then back to a high at the end of the day. You could open up a long position midday in the midst of that decline in Ace of Cups, probably around like 11 o'clock ish, and it'll be like the second low. We'll hit a low, and it'll either be the same low that we see first thing in the morning, or more likely it'll be a lower low. So you could open up a long position when you close that short position and close the long position at the end of the day when we have another test to break through key resistance at a high there at the end of the day. Remember, it's overall bullish. Volume is saying overall bullish as well, so be mindful of that. Don't get caught off guard. And with that said, based on where we are now, if tomorrow is bullish out of this, like we probably open lower, we have a lower price level around that 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock mark. And then there's this move off of it, probably back to the upside to a high. It's possible that we do see a highest high here on the 31st, even though we have the death card. Because we are definitely within range of it, and the fact that we had a higher price level today than the 26th indicates that the highest high is probably still coming. But it's risky, so be mindful of that. Hey, Senska, Jana. Hey, Robert. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. Well, it looks like that pump ended up being like throughout the day. That move to the upside, this move higher was to the upside. I would have expected more of a move, but this is the end of a rally, which is 20, which is what the completion card is. Out of this decline, there's going to be a notable move to the upside to a prominent crest or peak. Probably towards the end of the day on the 28th. Yeah, there was early in the day this move here. I would have expected more of a move, but sometimes that happens. Hard to determine sometimes the full range, but that's a pretty sharp move to the upside. That could have easily been the ruin card here, and then we had this rally that ended like it turned sour and we moved to the downside, which is very much what the completion card is like. So out of this decline, which might go into tomorrow, there's a notable move higher that'll stand out on a multi-day range, out of that decline into a peak or crest around the end of the day on the 28th, or maybe the 29th, or possibly again another peak on the 29th. But we sell off from a peak or crest there on the 29th. Hey, AV. QS. Wow, that was a big move. So QS guidance for next week. So overall trend direction next week for QS. Bumping along resistance, probably breaking through resistance and bumping along more resistance. You could break through more than one resistance. It's possible with the Valor card. But it's overall pretty bullish, the Valor card. That's overall like for the week, next week. Pretty big move to the upside on Monday. Might see a new high on Tuesday. A lot of ground covered on Wednesday. Hard to say if it's to the downside or the upside. I think probably to the downside. More downside the following day. And then there's an important technical price level highlighted at resistance on Friday. That's probably like near the high again. That's QS. WAXP Crypto. I just finished recording the TiFi reading for you, Robert. Just finished before this. TiFi is looking juicy. If you've got some patience. So this one we're looking at is WAXP. Overall energy. Oh, the Ace of Discs is pretty auspicious when talking about overall energy. A lot of price change between the low and the high, and money that can be made with the Ace of Discs. This speaks of money. Wax. I want to look into this a little further and see what else I got. WAX P for the remainder of 2023. Multiple failed attempts to break through key resistance. We establish a sound foundation of support in 2024. 2025, 2026 is where it gets really bullish. Hey, Cal. Energy web chain all-time high. I don't have anything on Energy Web token just yet. I thought I did. Interesting. But I don't, so we could do like I could do like timing of its next all-time high, like to where, like timing to like the year where it like within a year where it is, but telling you the year might be a little bit more difficult. So it's like I'll be able to tell you the part of the year, but like not what year per se. I might be able to figure that out. Energy web chain. Or Energy Web. Wait a sec. Is it Energy Web Yeah, Energy Web token. Okay. So it looks like its all-time high will form after a period of sideways rotation that ends with a fast sudden move higher, taking us into the high. And its all-time high will take place between August 12th and September 11th. Hard to say what year. To do that, I'd need to get into more detailed readings. You're welcome, AV. Hey, Tibraze. So, yeah, I was saying that since we saw a higher price level than the 26 today, it makes me think that this high at the end of the month is probably more like, it gives it more likely, more probability to take place, this high at the end of the month, because it knocked this highest high, which was the highest probable. This was second highest probable. So it knocked this highest high out of being highest high, meaning that this is most likely going to be the highest high here at the end of the month. That's after a prominent trough, which I think probably forms tomorrow, followed by a notable move higher. We go from like we revisit a support level that was a past opportunity tomorrow at tomorrow's open, and then there's like this big move higher early in the day along a diagonal trend line, a fast sudden move higher, ending that move followed by a breakdown through that diagonal trend line. Like if you want to catch that rally and open up a short position, close the short position here, or if you're in a short position right now, you can either take profits or you can hold that short position. It's a little bit more risky, but you can hold that short position for potentially more gains here around 10 to 11 o'clock, or excuse me, around 11 to 12 o'clock ish. Around that same time, in the midst of a decline there, that Ace of Cups energy, I would open up a long position in anticipation of a high at the end of the day, revisiting of the high that we saw first thing in the morning. So we kind of like bottom out tomorrow. Hopefully nobody sold, got scared and sold when we opened higher rather than lower. And they got that instruction that I had where I said if you're in a short position, you can either close it tomorrow, or if I'm wrong about it you could either close it first thing in the morning, or if I'm wrong about the morning, you'd be able to close it midday. Looks like actually be able to close it here on the 28th. So if you're still in that short position, I'd say hold it. Or you could do the more prudent thing, which is to take profits while you have them. Bird in hand's worth two in the bush. Remember, it's not your money unless it's in your account. It's actually not even your money if it's in your account. It's the bank's money. They're, you're allowing them to hold it, but they got control over it. So we see a low first thing in the morning, a high to a low, and then we see another low, probably a lower low. It's either the same low or a lower low here, just a little bit before noon time, 11 to 12 somewhere. I think it's actually going to be... It's hard to say if it's a lower low. It really is, but I think it might be a lower low. So here around 11 to 12 is where I would, me personally, I would close it. I would risk it, but I like to do risky things. If you're more cautious or you don't have the same risk tolerance, then it would make sense to take profits now. We might have a gap down tomorrow, actually, guys. We might actually have a gap down tomorrow. I've been seeing the Fool card turn up as a gap down card quite a lot. It could also be that I was just off on the high by a day, which sometimes happens, and that we don't see a higher high at the end of the month. I think maybe I was just off by a day. If we gap down tomorrow, then I would say I was off on the high by a day. If we don't gap down tomorrow, we bottom out tomorrow, and we finish higher than where we are now tomorrow, I would say there's more likelihood that we have a high on the last day of the month. But as of right now, I'm thinking that I'm probably just off a day as far as the high. Glad you like it, Robert. Can UPST hit 65.70 next week? Oh, overall trend for next week is really big to the upside. It might be out of oversold or it might be like a gap up. Is it out of oversold? I got the unicursal. There's probably a drop here. So looks like out of the decline tomorrow, there's a fast sudden move higher marking the end of the decline, and then next week's pretty like significantly bullish. Based on those cards, hard to determine if we see 65, 70. Do we see 65 or 70? Do we see $65 in UPST next week? I got a yes for that. Do we see $70 in UPST next week? I got a yes for that. I believe the strength card is a yes. I just want to double check. Yeah, it's a yes. Hey, Karthikeyan B. Well, I would say it's safer to wait until tomorrow to do it. I do think there's probably going to be a pretty notable gap down. But it's risky because it's a pretty bullish card for the theme tomorrow. I'd say it's less risky to wait until tomorrow in the midst of this rally early in the day, a fast sudden move higher like first thing in the morning, opening up at a high, opening up a short position and closing that short position around that 11 to 12. Or if you've got more risk tolerance, you could be more risky and get into a short position like right now. But you know, I have a lower accuracy rating. If you were just to look at like my overnights, like what I see as far as where it opens and closes, it's a lower accuracy than my average accuracy. Like it's, you know, more likely to be wrong than most of my predictions. It does appear to me that there's a gap down tomorrow, though. It looks like it. Oh, thank you, Carolyn. Really appreciate it. Oh, I didn't see you there. I'm sorry, Carolyn. If you were there for a little minute, I just saw you. Mega volume down in stocks today. Do you think there will be a recovery tomorrow? Overall, I think SPY is probably going to gap down pretty notably tomorrow with a rally first thing in the morning, like a fast sudden move higher out of a gap, followed by a decline to bottom out, and then like probably the same high at the end of the day. And then, you're welcome, maybe. As far as overall trend direction tomorrow and next week for UPST, overall bullish for UPST next week. Overall pretty bullish to the upside. I just broke down the days. Well, actually, the days were looking kind of mixed, but overall, pretty big move on Monday. UPST tomorrow, probably like a move to the downside and then up, like pretty big upwards afterwards. AFRM. Overall trend direction. Glad to hear it, Carolyn. I felt kind of bummed yesterday because there was a couple calls I made that ended up being wrong. So glad to hear that. AFRM, overall trend direction for next week. Sideways rotation, sharp drop in that period of sideways rotation, revisiting a support level that was an opportunity. Tomorrow, halting of a bullish trend marked by a sharp decline, so we might have a little bit of a move to the upside early in the day and then a decline from it. Monday is a significant trade opportunity at key support. Tuesday, after establishing support on Monday, big move higher. Wednesday, it looks like overnight we decline into Wednesday, and then there's a move from the bottom of range to the top of a range. Thursday's pretty mixed. A lot of ground is covered. You could position yourself in both directions. And then Friday, we have the completion of a bullish trend. You're welcome, Karthikeyan. So we got a lot of cool stuff coming on. Energy Web Chain's on the list, Cal. I just haven't gotten to it yet. There's a lot of requests, plus a lot of paid orders and whatnot. So I will get to it as fast as I can. It's on the list. Don't worry about that. Oh, B, I just saw you. I'm so sorry. What do you think about Apple in the second week of August? You think it can hit 170 in the second week of August? I can't wait to see Apple get more and more into healthcare. They're gonna do some really innovative things for like personal health. Wow, look at that move. Wow. Overall, pretty bullish there. So for August, I think we hit 170 in August. Where's my 1 year? There we go. Yeah, August is looking pretty bearish for Apple. You want to go down, buddy? Come here. Let me give you some pets real quick. You're a good boy, you know. Everybody loves you. It's looking pretty like the Ruin card's one of the biggest decline cards. It's through multiple. You're creating multiple lower resistance levels on the way down in a decline, and it looks like it's from pretty early in the month. Do we hit 170? Oh, I almost shuffled them backwards. Does Apple hit 170 in August 2023? Yes or no? I got a yes for that. Wow, that's a big drop. Yeah, decline's continuing. Sorry, guys, for coughing in your ear. Yeah. So we're in the midst of this full energy, pretty big move, I think, to the downside overnight, and we're gonna have this fast sudden move higher out of it at the beginning of the day, followed by more decline into midday, and then we rally out of it, and it's a pretty mixed behavior rally out of it um, into a high at the end of the day. The Princess of Swords and the Ace of Swords does mean that it's going to be pretty mixed around these lows, around the timing of these lows. So like if we gap down pretty notably, I would say just take the position, take the profit there. Maybe open up a new position, a new short position, like for less money. Take the profit, open up a another short position in the midst of that move higher, and then close the short position midday for a day trade. Open up a long position when you close that short position midday, and close the long position at the end of the day for a day trade. I don't think I would wait and I don't think I would open the long position if I can't make a day trade. I probably would not open the long position because I think we probably open lower the following day. Better than nothing. Hey, welcome, my friend. Okay. You too. Will it pump before dump? Well, we were just looking at Apple, and it looks like the high is really at the beginning of the month. Yeah, we have a high like right around here, around the third, fourth, and it's pretty bearish throughout the month from there. As far as Google, I have Goog, but not with the L, which is a different one. Do you specifically want Goog with the L on the end, or do you want GOOG? They're probably pretty similar, but it isn't the same. I think it probably starts dumping. Is there any more move? Is there more move to the upside before we start really declining in GOOG? I got a no for that. So we should start steadily heading south from here. Does GOGL go higher from here before a major decline? Does GOOGL go higher from here? I got a yes. So maybe the last few days of the month here. It's kind of mixed the beginning of next week. Tomorrow we're revisiting a support level that was recently a past opportunity, and then the end of the week we rally, but it looks like the rally doesn't hold on Friday, breaks down through a diagonal trend line. And it looks really bearish for August. Hey, Conrad. Yeah, so I was just saying, I think I'm probably just off one day on the high rather than the high being at the end of the month, based on what I'm seeing. So let me answer it this way, conditionally. So right here, we probably have a prominent move higher and then a retracement of that move. But tomorrow we'll revisit a support level that was recently a past opportunity. My sense is that my sense is that we gap down based on the full card on the 1 month, which in a lot of cases ends up being a gap I'm noticing to the downside. And if we do gap down, there'll be like this big move out of that move to the downside, followed by a decline into a low midday, and then we rally back to like the same highs. If we do gap down, very unlikely that we see a highest high on the 31st. However, if we gap up and we do the same thing, end up at a high, we'll be a lot closer to a highest high. It's more likely that we open at a high, but I think we probably open lower on Monday as well. So overall bearish day there, or bearish opportunity, I should say there. Ooh, that's a good question. PLT earnings. PLT earnings are on August 7th. What will the market's trend be before the earnings announcement? Sideways rotation, sharp dip, revisiting a support level that was recently a past opportunity. What will be PLTR's chart behavior, trend direction after the earnings announcement? Even in the face of seemingly overwhelming headwinds or negative news, there's a big move to the upside. So the earnings result may not be as like positive as maybe you would expect it to be with the kind of move that we have to the upside afterwards. So that sharp drop prior to the earnings result is going to be an opportunity to open up a long position. You can close that long position in the midst of that big move to the upside the following, after the results. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up here, I think. With that said, thank you all so much for watching and for your interest and your support. As always, make sure to follow that rule of karma. You can do so here easily under the resources tab of our website, where you can send 5% of the profits forward to one of these charities by clicking one of these links here, effectively turning the competitive energy of the stock market into goodwill. And then 5% of the profits as a thank you back to the channel, help support us. That leaves you at 90%. Make sure to spend that money at 11. The universe is going to send it back to you tenfold through this channel. Microsoft long or short tomorrow, next week. Tomorrow's looking pretty bearish. There's a brief peak that's easily missed. It's probably at the beginning of the day, like is my sense, and then a pretty notable decline next week for Microsoft. Failed attempt to break through key resistance that technicals will lead us to believe we're going to break through, followed by a decline through a falsely established support that was established just prior to that failed attempt to break through key resistance. And shop for next week. Bound by range next week. It's really mixed for shop next week. Big move to the upside on Monday from the bottom of the range to the top of the range, but that's out of a notable decline or a notable gap down. Big move on Friday as well, but that's probably out of oversold territory maybe. Move to the downside on Thursday, and it's pretty mixed on Tuesday and Wednesday. I'd say we're probably range bound there. All right, my friends, take care. As always, blessings. Follow that rule of karma. I'll see you guys